In this video, we'll be diving into our data using SQL, which will be part 2 of our Excel, SQL, and Tableau project series. Let's dive right into it. For my analysis, I'm going to be using SQL Server, and I'm going to be showing you how to import this Excel worksheet into the server. If you don't use SQL Server, I'll leave some links in the description so you can get that set up on your computer. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to Next. And for data source, I'm going to go to Microsoft Excel. I'm going to click Browse. And for this, I'm going to be selecting my copy. So we're good there. And then I'm going to click Next. And for destination, we're going to go down to SQL Server Client 11.0 right here. And for a database, we're going to create our own. So we go to New. And we're going to just call this Sports Store. We'll just call Sports Store. Okay. Good. And we can move to Next. Leave that the same. Go to Next. We want both the customers and the orders. So we're going to do that. Click Next. Run immediately. Go right to Finish. Click Next again. Now let's just double check to make sure that the sheets get uploaded correctly. Give a little bit more time. And perfect. All good. We can close out. And now I can head right into my SQL Server. So what I'm going to do really quick, I'm going to just refresh. Good. Let me just connect to make sure I'm all good there. Connect, refresh. I'm going to go under databases, and perfect. We have it right here, Sports Store right here. I'm going to go into tables, and I'm just going to edit because, well, rename should I say. I want to take the dollar sign off there. Enter, good. Same thing for orders, rename, get the dollar sign off, and good. Cool. So I have the two sheets right here, the two tables right here in SQL. I'm going to right click on the customers and orders. I'm going to right click. I'm going to select top 1,000 rows. So I got that. We're good there. And I'm going to go to orders as well. Right click, select top 1,000 rows. And we're good right there. Cool. So everything looks great. We have our date, order ID, customer ID. Everything's good there. Everything is good here. Perfect. So don't need that. We get rid of this. And we get rid of that. That's good. So the first thing I want to find is the total revenue, profit, number of orders, and the profit margin. Just some overall KPIs that I would want to visualize. Of course, I want to explore that right here in SQL. So what I'm going to do for this one, I'm going to start off by going to make sure I keep things organized. And I encourage you to do this as well, just to make sure you know what you're doing and it's not becoming a total mess. I always recommend labeling each of your queries and profit margin. Cool, looks good. So let's start by finding the revenue and just double checking once again. This is going to be our one table here. So we see revenue. So I'm going to go to select. I'm going to tab out a little bit. I'm going to sum of the revenue. And I'm going to leave this, I'm going to call this total revenue just so we have a full understanding of what we are working with. And you might be wondering, why am I tabbing out? Why am I putting the comma before? I like to do that just say organized to make sure my work isn't getting all over the place. In case there's an issue, I could easily find what went wrong. It's just my way of doing it. There's many different ways you can query in SQL. This is just one of many ways. So I have the total revenue. Now I want to find the total profit. So I'm going to do the same thing, but now use profit. I'm also going to call this as total profit. Okay. We have that. Now I want to find the number of orders. I want to know the total amount. So I'm just do count star, and we'll call that also total orders. Good. And the last one, profit margin. So I know that to find the profit margin, we have to do the profit divided by the revenue and then multiply that by 100. So I want to do that right now. So let me just do the same thing. Be sum profit, divide that by the sum of revenue. And we're gonna multiply that by 100. And we're gonna call that, we'll just call it profit margin. And this one is coming from the orders table. Cool. So let's take a look. Let's cover it up, run that through. And there we go. So we have our total revenue right here. We have our total profit, total orders, and the profit margin. One quick thing I want to do before we move on is I'm just going to go up here and do select star from orders. Just so I have this, so I can go back and look at the table, make sure if I see anything that's off or I want to double check something, I can always go back and have that there. So now we're all good with that one. We can now move on to the second one. And the second insight I'm trying to find is the revenue, profit, and profit margin by each sport. Now, looking back at what we did for the first one, it's pretty similar. Like we already found revenue, profit, orders, margin. Might as well just make a couple adjustments and we have what we need for each sport. So once again, we're finding all of this. So I can just copy and paste here. Copy, Control V for each sport. And everything is mostly here that we need. We just gotta make a couple adjustments. Copy that. Control V, good. I just want to add in the sport. So I just go here, enter, go to sport, good. Go here, add the comma there. Okay, and now I got to think, okay, I'm having all of this information, the revenue, profit, the orders, the margin. How am I going to group this? I want to group it by each sport. So going here, group by sport. And I want to order this by the profit margin. I want it going from highest to lowest. So I'm going to order by profit margin, descending. I want to go from highest to lowest. And let's see. That looks pretty good. So we have each of the sports. We have soccer up top, soccer because it has the highest profit margin. And we have going from highest to lowest in the profit margin, along with its revenue, profit, and how many orders they had. Now, with the revenue profit, I want to make sure each of them have only 2 decimal places at most. I don't want them going off into crazy long numbers. I just want there being 2. So to do that, I'm going to use the round function. So I'm going to go over here, go to round, open that up. And I'm going to put a comma 2 because I want only 2 spots. Close that up, good. Go to here, round, open it up, comma 2, close that up. And let's take a look. Perfect. So now everything's around the way we want it. And we'll leave it right there. So like I said, we have the revenue, profit, orders, and profit margin for each of the sports. The next insight we're going to try to find is information about the customer ratings. We want to know how many customers gave ratings and what was the average rating overall. So going back to looking at the orders, we see in the rating column, it's a scale of 1 to 5, 1 meaning poor service, 5 being excellent. Some people gave a rating, some people didn't. So we're just trying to see how many people did give a rating and what was the average rating overall. So going back down here, put this for 3, number of customer ratings and the average rating. Okay. So I have to think, how am I going to find out this information? How am I going to know how many times a person gave a rating? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a subquery right here, or I'm going to do select count star from orders where the rating is not null. I'm going to call that as number of reviews. Because what this is going to do is it's just going to count every single part of this column that has a number. If it's a null, it will not show up. So we are all good with that one. Let's go here. Make sure we are all in line. Cut that out. Good. We're all in line. So I have that, and that should be for the number of reviews. And now we have to look at the average rating. So we're going to use average. We're just going to do rating. Or call that as average rating. Good. And we're getting this from the orders table. And we should be good with this. Let's take a look. Okay. So we have the number of reviews, 1,193, and we have the average rating. Same as above, kind of like with this one. When we looked at the revenue and the profit, I rounded it to the nearest 2 spots. I want to do the same with the rating. I don't want it going off into a million decimal spots. So all I'm going to do is go right here. We're going to use our round function again. We're going to round, go to the back, comma 2, close that up. Let's take a look, and we're good. So we see the number of people that gave a review, and we see the average rating overall with a 3.13. So that's about average, nothing too crazy. We might want to look into that a little bit more. But for now, at least we get a decent idea of how many people gave a review and what the average rating was. What we're trying to find next is how many people gave each rating and what was the revenue, profit, and the profit margin for each one. So going back, take a look at orders, just seeing what we have to take. So we're going to need the rating. We're going to need the total for the orders. We're going to need revenue. And we're going to use profit. And we have to then find profit margin. So pretty similar to the beginning, but now we want to do it based off the rating. So let's go to here. Try and do number of people for each rating and its revenue, profit, profit margin, and total. That's good right there. So let's just think. So we're going to select. And what do we need? We're going to start off with the rating. We need that. Yeah. Next, we're going to look for the sum of revenue. Just call that total revenue, just like we did in the beginning. Same thing, sum of the profit. We'll call that total profit. And then with the profit margin, we're going to be doing the sum of profit divided by sum of revenue. Divide that by 100. And we'll call that profit margin. And we are getting this from the orders table. And just like before, we have to think, now this is where actually something's going to be a little bit different. Because with the rating, there are some with numbers and some of them are nulls. We want to make sure we specify, especially when we group them, they're going to be by the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We don't want to worry about anything with nulls. We just want to know about the ratings. So we're going to put in a where clause. So where we will be doing rating is not null. So it only counts the ratings from 1 to 5. Then we're going to go group by. We're going to group by the rating. And how do we want it ordered? I just want it ordered actually by the rating. I just want to keep it simple, organizing it from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 all the way down. Much easier to read. But we'll take a look. We'll see if that's the right way. We'll see how it looks. And okay. So we can see right here with people who gave a 5-star rating, actually the profit margin isn't the most. We can even see that 3 and 2 had the highest. So that's something we could see. Now, of course, with the profit, that's another thing. We can see that 3 and 5 had by far the highest total profit, and 4, 2, and 1 were kind of close. But it's kind of good to see, was the rating much of a difference? Did it depend on if it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? And we can see that it made a small difference. If you gave a 1, had the small margin. But it was kind of interesting to see that 3 had the best profit margin altogether. What we want to try to find next is the total revenue, profit, and profit margin by each state. So going back up to the orders table, we take a look and we don't have a column for the state. However, we do have it here in the customers table. So we have to do some kind of join to get these two tables to work together to get us this information. So let me go here, go back. This is going to be the state revenue, profit, and profit margin. There we go. So I have to think, what columns do I need? I'm going to select. And what I'm doing here is I'm putting an alias right in the front of state because I need to tell SQL where is this coming from. I'm going to explain more in a little bit on why I'm using that alias right there. And put a comma there. And I have to think, okay, what from the orders table do I need? And we're looking for the revenue, profit, and the profit margin. What I'm going to do is, I'm not going to just put in revenue right away because I have to remember I have to do a sum. So I'm going to go sum, open that up, and I'm going to use O for the alias. And I'm using O because I want O to tell me that that's come from orders, and C will be because that's come from the customers table. And for this, we'll just call as total revenue. We'll keep it going, just like in the others. Good. Sum O dot profit as total profit. That's good. And now we're going to do the same thing just like before. We're going to do for the profit margin, we'll go O dot profit divided by sum O dot revenue times 100 as profit margin. Now we got to think what kind of join we're going to use. I'm going to use an inner join for this. Keep it nice and simple. We're going to do from. I'm going to do orders. Put an O right afterwards. You could put orders as O or just leave it the way it is right here. It'll do the same thing. I just like to keep it like this. Keeps it way more simple, way easier to understand. I'm going to write join, and also you could write inner join, just write join. It's going to do the same thing, but I'm just typing the word join because less work and just once again right to the point. I'm going to put customers C, and when I do the on clause, I have to tell SQL, okay, according to what part of each table are they going to join on? And just looking quickly, we see here customer ID, order ID, customer ID. Okay, so we're going to join it based on the customer ID. So we're going to go here, O dot customer ID is equal to C dot customer ID. Okay. And how we're going to group this, I'm going to group this by the state because that's what we will be focusing on, C dot state. And the order, let's order that by the profit. Yeah, we'll do profit. Order that by the total profit descending. See, let's take a look. Okay. So we see here, it's going to be organized by the state, each with each of their revenue and their profit and their margin, and it's going from highest to lowest based off the profit. Now we could change that. You can put that the profit margin or revenue. I just put it in for profit right there, just so I could show an example. And we see here it is in the right order. So this is good. I mean, we have the order we want. It's all grouped together. However, I want to make this a little bit different. I want there to be a row number that will be right next to each of these, the revenue, profit, and the margin. And we're going to use something called row number, which is going to be a window function. It's going to rank each of these based on the revenue, profit, and the margin. So I'm going to go into here, and I want them to go right before it. So I want, for example, the state right here is good. I want the rank for the revenue right here, then revenue, rank for the profit, then profit, rank for the profit margin, then the profit margin itself. So we're going to go into here, go into back there. We'll use row number, close that over that. We're going to put over. And we're going to say, okay, so how's this going to be ordered by? We're basically telling it right now, how does this want to be ordered? And we're going to do this based off the revenue. So all we're going to do is order by sum of O dot revenue. Close that. Descending. We're just going to call that revenue rank. And let me just show you quickly how this will look. Just to show you really quickly. Okay, so like I said, it's still ordering this by the total profit, but you see now it'll tell you exactly where each of these are ranked. So total revenue, California is number 1, 2, 3, 4, and each of the states now will have right next to it where it ranks based off the revenue. So we want to do the same for the profit and the profit margin. So instead of us, we could type this all again, but I'm just going to here. I'm just gonna copy this. I'm just gonna copy it, just so it makes my life a little bit easier. I don't have to go in and make a million changes. So I'm just going to go here, Control V, and I just go in here and see, okay, what do I have to change? I just go into here and change that to profit, descending, and I'm just going to call that profit rank. Make it nice and easy. Good. Okay. And then same thing here for the profit margin. I'm going to here. I'm just going to copy that all. Control C. And go into here, click Enter, Control V. Oh, I did not take the comma. That's why I did not put that comma there. There we go. Now we're good there. And then same thing with this. Order by, it's going to be the same thing here. So we just go here and do this. Divide by sum revenue times 100.0. There we go. Just leave that right there. Let's take a look and see how this looks. Let's see. Okay. I mean, that's pretty good. I do see a mistake I made, but I'm just taking a quick look and give you a quick 2-3 seconds to see what I did wrong. And this is where it comes down to when you're copying and pasting, making sure that you're, changing any words, columns, or aliases. We see here profit rank is listed twice. I did not change that. So I'm just going to here and change that to, let's go margin rank. Just call it margin rank. Just do that. And there we go. Okay, so now it's all good. Now, I want to prove to make sure that this is correct. I'm just going to order this by, let's go by the margin rank. Let's go by margin rank. Let's do that. Oh man, can't spell today. There we go. Let's do that. And let's go. So you might think, okay, Chris, why is this up top? It's because that's descending, right? Of course it's going to descend from highest to lowest, but in this sense we don't want that. So we're just going to get rid of descending. Go back up to here. And now we're good. So let's take a look. So we see Utah here has the highest profit margin, and this all checks out. See Maine at 18%. That's not that good. So we see here we could order it by however we want. You could do it based off any of these: the revenue rank, profit rank, margin rank, and this is a great way to take a quick look at how each state is performing. For example, we see New York has 4th revenue, 4th profit, but the 14th best margin rank. And we see here Utah came in at 27th, but had the best. So it just gives another insight to look into to do some quick analysis. The last insight we're going to try to find is the monthly profits from the store. This one's going to be pretty straightforward. However, let's dive right into it. So go back up to our orders table. We have the date column. However, we just need the month. We don't need the year. We don't need the day, just the month. So going back down, start off our next one. Should be monthly profits. That's good. So I think we need the select, and we're going to use the month clause for this. Month with the date column. We'll just call this month. Make it nice and easy on us. And we're going to go to here. And we're looking for the profit, so sum of profit as total profit. Good. And we're getting this from the orders table, orders. And we're going to be grouping this by the month. However, we have to type it as month date. Okay. Let's take a look. Let's see what we got here. Okay. So like I said, it pulled the month from the date column. So 1 being January, 12 being December, with the total profit with it. However, I want to add something to this. I also want to know the difference in profit by each month. So when it goes from January to February, what's the difference? When it goes from February to March, what's the difference? And so forth. So for this, I'm going to use something called a CTE. So recall this query, we're going to call it just monthly profit. Make it nice and easy. As, okay. So we're going to use, basically think of this table is what we're going to be using for this. We're only using this table right here to get us what we need. So I can now go to here and go select. I want to use the month column. I also want to use the total profit column. And this is where we're going to use something now a little bit different. Now we're going to use something called lag. And what that's going to do is going to show us the difference between each month. So let me start that off for you right here. So I'm going to go lag. I'm going to go the total profit over and go order by the month. We're going to call this one as go previous month profit. Yeah, we'll call it that for right now. And we have that. And now we got to think too, we want to know the difference. We basically created a column for the previous month's profit, but now we have to find the actual difference. So going into here, we're then going to do profit. Sorry, not profit. Total profit. Sorry about that. We're going to do that minus, and we're going to take all of this right here because we want minus this. We're trying to take the total profit, this column, minus the previous month, which would be this one. So we're going to here, Control C, Control V. Good. We'll call this we'll call this the profit difference. Cool. Yeah, we'll go from that. And this is where the CT comes in. Like I said, we call this monthly profit. So we're getting all this information from monthly profit. And we're order this by the month. So it goes from 1 down to 12. Good. Okay. Let's take a quick look. Go through all this right here. And okay. So let's take a look at this. So right here, we have the month going from 1 down to 12, 1 being January, 12 being December. The total profit, what was done in each month. The previous month profit. So as you see right here with 2, previous month, 1 being January, there it is. March for 3, what was previous month? It was right there in 2. And the difference, so what is the difference between the current month and the month from before? Now you see some nulls here for 1 January. That's because we don't have December from the previous year. This is only for the year 2022. So of course, there's going to be no previous month profit or difference because we don't have a previous month. But for the rest, we see right here, you see the math right there, for example, right here in the 11,244 minus 14,013, we get a difference of approximately negative 2,700. So that's a quick, easy way to use lag, and I think it's be very helpful, especially when you get to our visualization in Tableau, to see the different months when it comes to profit, revenue, and that is what we'll cover on our next video. Make sure to check out my next video, which will be the last part of our Excel, SQL, and Tableau project series, where we will visualize all the trends and insights that we found in Tableau. See y'all there.